Hello there, very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Martin Satyanesan. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for this afternoon. Vijay Dasa claims he received a phone call from the president and that he was reprimanded. Police opened fire at a vehicle in Point Pedro for not heeding orders to stop. Another suspect arrested with a narcotic substance, ice, in Vattala. Remains of the father and the son who drowned in Valioya found. Lightning strike claims a life of 4. 6 people admitted to hospital. A COVID-19 drug mafia reported in India. Now the stories in detail. Speaking at a media briefing this morning, Dr. Vijay Dasa Rajapaksa says that he has received a response regarding the speech he made yesterday criticizing certain government decisions, including the Port City Special Economic Bill.
We are facing a very severe threat of our sovereignty and independence. The bill that has been published by His Excellency the President, the Colombo Port City Bill, will create a disastrous effect to this country. I explained to the people the danger of passing this bill. We have already instituted proceedings that is scheduled to be taken up for hearing on next Monday the 19th. We will go ahead. When we explained this, I expected His Excellency the President should have some grace to understand the predicament that our people will have to go through. And I thought that he will call and discuss this matter and get some, at least, if it is not the advice, at least our opinion as to how this kind of complicated issues to be settled. But instead that he was making a very serious allegation, and it was in a threatening tone that I am telling the lies to the media and spreading them. What are the lies I have told the media? I told that this bill is such a dangerous one that might create, that will jeopardize our independence and sovereignty. It is a kind of invasion. That we blame the last government because the last government gave Hambantota, that is under a contract signed by the government. But here the most grave part of it is that this government is going to give it by passing a bill, by a statute. Then we gave the undertaking to the people during the last presidential election as well as in the parliamentary election, said under the leadership of the incumbent president, the country will prevail with the rule of law and there won't be a political interference, and we won't outsource or we won't sell or lease our national resources. But today we can't face the people that if you look at the area, the extent of the forest that had been destroyed is over 30,000 hectares. Then we, being the people's representative, it's our duty to, through the media, for the people to know what is happening in this country. That we will do our duty irrespective of whatever the threat which may come from any corner. The country belongs to all of us. This country doesn't belong to one family or one man. මේ රට විනාශ කරන රට පාව දෙන කොළඹ නගර ව්‍යාපෘති පනතට කොමිෂන් සභා පනතට ඡන්දය දෙන මහජන නියෝජිතයෝ මන්ත්‍රීතුමන්ලා ඇමතිතුමන්ලන්ට හොඳ හැටියට නිසි ලෙස ගමට ආපම ගෞරව කරන්නත් ජනතාව සූදානමින් ඉන්න.
At an event held in Homagama today, journalists questioned the Minister of Public Security, retired Rear Admiral Sarath Weerasekara, about the statements made by Dr. Vijay Dasa Rajapaksa yesterday.
I'm not interested in expressing my thoughts in this regard because generally when the President does something, he thinks about it a lot. Therefore, we should ask the President about the decision that he is making and we should pledge our support to the decision he is making. The President is someone who made a lot of sacrifices for this country. The decision made by the President are well thought from the perspective of the country.
The police special task force opened fire at a cab that travelled without heeding orders to stop in Point Pedro in Jaffna.
Police media spokesperson DIG Ajit Rohana said 2 people who were travelling in the vehicle were injured. The injured are currently receiving treatment at the Point Pedro Hospital.
The police special task force is operating a barricade in Point Pedro to protect a natural sand resource in the area since there have been reports of racketeers. Around 7:30 am, a cab had travelled towards a barricade from where the sand resource was located. It is reported that although officials attached to the STF have issued signs, the cab had proceeded. The STF has then kept a wooded slab with nails. However, the cab has continued driving despite the damage to the tires. Furthermore, there have been reports of the cab making attempts to run over certain officials who were standing near the barricade. At this point, the STF have opened fire. However, the cab had still not stopped. 2 suspects aged 23 and 26 have been admitted to the Point Pedro Hospital with gunshot wounds. Point Pedro police are conducting further investigations while the search for the cab continues. Statements are currently being recorded from the STF officials. At a time where the country's focus has turned towards saving the environment, the auspicious time to plant saplings in line with the Sinhala and Tamil New Year was observed this morning. The citizens of this country, as a part of fulfilling their responsibilities for the future generations, commenced planting saplings at 6:40 am this morning based on the almanac. The national tree planting ceremony was held at the residence of Minister of Environment Mahinda Amaravira in Agunukola Palace. We will perform this activity even more successfully during the next year. I am sure by the next year we can establish a Guinness record. I believe we can establish a record of planting the highest number of plants at one given time. I have that belief. Beyond the Guinness record, what we need is to protect the environment of our country. We are inviting all the media, including the ones who criticize us, not only criticize us, but also plant a sapling and pledge your support. Meanwhile, a program to coincide with the National Tree Planting Program was held today at the ancient Raja Mahaviharya in Ilangamgoda, Sapugoda in Kamarupitiya. What we see is that not only humans but also animals are in need of oxygen to live. Oxygen density has reduced due to different reasons. As a national program, we engaged in planting saplings. Irrespective of any differences, it is a responsibility that was vested towards the current generation to create an environment for us to live.
වර්තමානයේ ජීවත් වෙන ජනතාව මත පැවරිච්ච දැවැන්ත වගකීමක්.
Meanwhile, SLPP MP Nipuna Ranawaka expressed the following views regarding the provincial council elections.
As a minister, I can say it is not a good thing for the country if the election is postponed. It is a good thing if there is a provincial council structure. Since there are no members, certain officials act in the manner in which they want. The best example is in Deniaya, and certain openings are taking place. We are not aware of them either. Certain things are done based on the discretion of the officials at the provincial councils. Funds are being spent without the approval from any public representatives. As a result, an election must be held. However, should the provincial council system continue, or will there be a district council? There are differences between the policies of the government and the provincial council. Those have to be corrected. That is why the people provided the 2/3 majority.
A suspect was arrested with 2.4 kilograms of a narcotic substance better known as ice during a search operation conducted in Hunupitiya, Vattala. Police media spokesperson DIG Ajit Rohana stated that 13 suspects were arrested with 128 kilograms of substances during raids carried out over several days. On March 10th, the Police Narcotics Bureau conducted a special investigation in Vattala. 101 grams of heroin and 113 grams of ice were found and one suspect was arrested. After questioning the suspect, 15 kilograms of ice were taken into custody in Jayala the following day. 2 female suspects and 4 male suspects were arrested in connection to the incident. Following further investigations, 110 kilograms of ice were discovered and 5 suspects were arrested by the Sapgaskanda police in Mabima, Ratgahawatha on the 12th of April. After all these measures were taken, the Police Narcotics Bureau conducted further extensive investigations. Accordingly, 2 kilograms of ice were found and 1 suspect was arrested in Hunupitiya yesterday. Nearly 128 kilograms of ice have been found within the past 7 days. What we can see here is due to the destruction of natural narcotic substance networks like heroin, there has been an expansion of the artificial narcotic substance networks. We will continue to make further investigations regarding this.
Meanwhile,
2 suspects were arrested with cannabis and ice in Amuatamulla in Kottava. Police said they seized 13 kilograms of cannabis and 50 grams of ice in the suspect's possession. The suspects aged 23 and 26 are due to be presented before the Homagama Magistrates Court. Meanwhile, 2 inmates of the Galle prison were transferred to the Busa High Security Prison for the possession of drugs. Further investigations are being carried out by the Ratgama police. The head of a man was found floating in the Nilwala river in Totamuna, Mathura.
According to information received by the police, the decapitated head was found last night and the individual has not been identified yet. An extensive investigation into the incident has been launched by the Mathura police. Meanwhile, 4 people have been killed owing to lightning in several parts of the island in the past 24 hours. Police stated that 3 individuals were killed in a lightning strike in Tannimurippu Mulativ last afternoon while working in a paddy field. The victims were residents of Kalmune and Keppapilau. A 32-year-old male died following a lightning strike in Kalavanchikudi Batiklo. Meanwhile, 6 persons who were struck by lightning in Batiklo have been hospitalized.
In your weather news, the Meteorological Department notes central, Sabaragamuwa, eastern, Uva and north central provinces are at a risk of several lightning activities. Its Director General Atula Karunanayaka said that there could be thunder showers in other parts of the country as well. General public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. The remains of the father and the son who drowned in the Valley Oya have been found. The accident had taken place when a family of 4 from Maharagama had visited the Valley Oya in Badulla for the holidays. Our correspondent stated that 3 people had started swimming while the mother had gone to a shop nearby. A sudden wave had drowned the 3 people who were swimming. The residents of the area had been able to rescue the daughter, while the father and the son of the family could not be rescued. On the Sports Centre. Recently, manager for the Sri Lanka national cricket team post was advertised.
I did apply for it, so if it comes, it comes. But all I want to do is to get myself involved in the system and give my expertise, give my experience, give it back to cricket basically. Because cricket, as I said, cricket has given me everything the way I am.
Leading up to 2023 Cricket World Cup, should there be a leadership change in Sri Lanka cricket based on your perspective?
I reckon Dimut deserves a little more time because Dimut came in a time where we weren't stable.
In conversation with former Sri Lanka cricketer Parveen Bahadur this Saturday at 9:30 p.m. on TV1. Finally, in your sports news, Rajasthan Royals overcame their heartbreaking defeat in their first match to get on the points table as they defeated Delhi Capitals by 3 wickets in the 7th match of the 14th edition of the Indian Premier League match played at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai yesterday.